Is this case, in your opinion, clear cut?
So absolutely not. It's not clear cut, and I'll tell you why. First and foremost, we just don't know everything yet. So obviously we've seen the horrific video, and it is horrific, and it's horrible because a life was lost. But we don't know exactly what happened leading up to that video itself. In addition to that, we don't know enough about the individual who had placed Mr. Neely in the chokehold. And so all of that is going to be considered in order to make a charging decision.
I guess my question is, as someone especially who covers crime in the city all the time, why in this case would police have to wait for the district attorney in order to make an arrest when there are plenty of other cases where police make an arrest as soon as they can when someone dies?
So, in order to effectuate an arrest, the police have to have probable cause to believe that a crime has been committed. And in this case, based on what we can see, it would be probable cause to believe that some level of a homicide was committed in this case. And so, at the time that the police brought the individual in for questioning, the person that you've referred to as the Marine, it's our best guess that at that point they just did not know enough information. Also, based on what we know at that point, I believe that they did not have the video yet, so they had not seen that video.
Correct. So, but now that the video's out, now that, yesterday it's coming up on 24 hours that the medical examiner ruled it a homicide, why do you think that they would be waiting still?
So, although they're separate branches, right, the police department is separate from the prosecutor's office, they do work together. And so, in cases like this in particular, the prosecutor's office now is involved in the investigation. They are involved in thinking about, what happened here, what charges, if any, should be brought. And so, the police are going to respect that and work together with the prosecutor's office as opposed to just unilaterally making an arrest and then bringing those charges to the prosecutor's office.
Right. So in your expertise and in your opinion, what do you think is happening right now and what will happen next?
So right now, I would expect that there's a combination of the NYPD and the district attorney's office investigators investigating this case, right? Finding as much video footage as they can, finding as many members of the community who witnessed this as they can, interviewing them, reviewing footage, but they're also looking into the background of both these individuals. And in particular, they're most likely looking into the background of this alleged Marine, because what's really at issue here, one of the big issues here, is what his culpable mental state was at the time that he acted. And so, in order to better understand that, we need to know what kind of training he's had, what he knows about chokeholds, whether or not he knows that the force that he was using could have caused the death of Mr. Neely. And so, I would expect that they're looking into all of that right now.
Right. And then in terms of this, the legal defense of it possibly being self-defense, would that be is that a strong defense in this situation from what we know right now?
So we really don't know enough right now to know whether or not justification or self-defense is a viable defense. What we do know is that it seems likely that the individual will put forward that defense. Really, the question right now is, will the district attorney consider that defense now in the charging decision, right? Consider that it was self-defense and therefore they're not even going to bring charges? Or will they, based on the evidence that they gather, decide that even if this individual tries to put forward a self-defense, a justification defense, that no matter, we still have enough evidence to proceed with some level of a homicide charge here. And what's really important here is there is no doubt, I said this before, there is no doubt that this was just horrible. A man died here, and no one wants that. But we really need to understand all of the circumstances surrounding this. And so, what we can expect, what we can hope, is that the prosecutor's office is doing their due diligence, is really looking at this from all angles, gathering all that information before they make a charging decision. And that then, once they do make a charging decision, that will be brought to a grand jury. And that grand jury will ultimately have the say about whether or not this individual is charged.